Let's meet at Friday, in Friday, on Friday. Oh, let's have a coffee in 5 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. I suppose we can meet on the weekend, at the weekend. Let's have a class at Christmas, on Christmas. If you struggle with the preposition of time, this video is for you. Let's start with at. At we usually use with a specific time. For example, at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, let's meet at 11:30, we will use at. Additionally, we use at with holidays when it's period. For example, at Christmas, at Easter, at New Year, we use at. But there are also some exceptions. We use at with at the weekend, at the same time, at the moment, and at night. Be careful with weekend because depending if it's British English or American English, it can be a little bit different. In British English, they mainly use at the weekend and at weekends. In American English, they say on the weekend and on weekends. Okay, understand? Time, holidays if it's period, and we have some exceptions. Next, let's talk about in. In we talk about some long periods, starting with months. It's months in February, it's season in summer, it's year in 2020, it's decade in 80s and 90s, it's centuries. Let's meet, it's not a good example, but for example, we live in the 21st century. And long periods, for example, in the past, in the future, we use in. And we have everything that longer than day, right? Months, seasons, year, centuries, etc. And parts of the day. In the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon. We use in. But don't forget about at, we use at night. Okay, I suppose now it's not too much information. Let's continue with on, and after we will have a short quiz and we will try to memorize it and remember. Okay, now let's talk about on. It's the easiest one. And on we use mainly when we have word day. For example, if you talk about days of the week, on Monday, on Tuesday, we use on. We discussed before with months we use in, but if you talk about date, for example, 1st of January, on, 6th of February, on. With a date we use on. If you talk about parts of day, morning, afternoon, evening, we use in, but if we have day again, we use on Monday morning, on Tuesday evening, on Saturday afternoon. On. If you talk about holiday plus word day, we use on Christmas Day, on Easter Day, on New Year Day. And one more thing, if you talk about Halloween and anniversary, in English it's date. And we also need to use on, not at. On Halloween, on anniversary. Okay, one more time. If we use time, we use at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, etc. By the way, if you talk about midday, midnight, it's not day, it's time, because midday it's 12 p.m. Midnight it's 12 a.m. and we use at midday and at midnight. Time, holidays if it's period, and exception. At night, at the same time, at the moment, and at the weekend in British, on the weekend in American English. Okay, on, everything related to day, everything, and additionally on Halloween and on anniversary, and in parts of day, morning, afternoon, evening, and everything that bigger than day. Seasons, months, centuries, years, etc. And now let's try to do a test. I will add a small information here with prepositions and let's try to do it together. Okay, see you Friday. See you on Friday. I brush my teeth morning. In the morning. The lesson is 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock. We have lunch midday. At midday. I'm busy moment. I'm busy at the moment. My parents always visit me my birthday. On my birthday. He was born the 19th century. In the 19th century. He usually goes on holiday July. In July. They always get together Christmas. At Christmas. You can come weekend. Here there are two options, at the weekend and on the weekend. If you watch this video, you will understand why. If it's American English, on the weekend. If it's British, at the weekend. And now you can also pass a test. I will add it in the description below. It's free and you can check your knowledge and you will have this chart with all information about prepositions of time free. If you enjoyed it and if you want to know more about preposition of time and know more about words like during, till, until, unless maybe, etc., write me in the comment below. See ya!